He opens the folder on his desk, looks at what's inside, closes it again. There are cases that stay with you not because of what happened, but because of who did it. Sweden, the country the world points to when it wants to show what a society can become. The highest quality of life, the most generous welfare state, the most progressive politics on earth. Sweden did this, and they called it science. To understand what Sweden did, you need to understand what Sweden was trying to become. In the early 20th century, Sweden was a poor country, overcrowded, high rates of poverty, alcoholism, mental illness. A society that believed, as many societies did at the time, that these problems could be solved not by addressing their causes, but by controlling who was allowed to reproduce. This was eugenics, the science of improving the human race by selecting which humans were allowed to continue it. It was not a fringe idea. It was taught in universities, funded by governments, celebrated in scientific journals. The United States had its own eugenics program. Nazi Germany had its own eugenics program. But most countries, after the Second World War, after the world saw what eugenics looked like when taken to its conclusion, stopped. Sweden did not stop. Sweden accelerated. In 1934, Sweden passed the Sterilization Act. The law allowed the state to sterilize citizens deemed unfit to reproduce. The criteria were broad and deliberately vague: mental illness, intellectual disability, epilepsy, chronic alcoholism, antisocial behavior. Antisocial behavior. That phrase did a lot of work. It meant whatever the authorities needed it to mean. A woman who was considered promiscuous, a man who couldn't hold a job, a Roma family who didn't fit into the Swedish idea of what a Swedish family should look like, a young woman whose only crime was being poor and inconvenient. The program was run by the State Institute for Racial Biology at Uppsala University, a government institution, with a budget, with staff, with a mission statement. Between 1935 and 1975, 40 years, Sweden sterilized 63,000 people. 90% of them were women. Maya Larsson was 17 years old when a social worker visited her family's home in 1947. Her family was poor. Her mother struggled with depression. The social worker filed a report describing the home as unsuitable and Maya as intellectually limited, a determination made after a single visit and a brief conversation. Maya was taken to a hospital. She was told she needed a minor operation. She was not told what the operation was. She was not asked for her consent. She was 17. She never had children. She spent decades not knowing why. It was not until the 1990s that she learned what had been done to her and why. She was one of 63,000. The records from the State Institute for Racial Biology reveal what the program actually looked like in practice. Women were referred for sterilization by social workers, teachers, doctors, employers, anyone in a position of authority who decided a woman was unfit. The referrals did not require evidence. They required suspicion. The most common reasons recorded: intellectual weakness, moral deficiency, asocial tendencies. Moral deficiency meant, in most cases, having children outside of marriage, having relationships with men of different backgrounds, not conforming to the expected behavior of a Swedish woman. Roma and Sami women were sterilized at rates far exceeding their share of the population. Disabled women, women in poverty, women in psychiatric institutions who had no one to advocate for them. Some gave consent, but the records show that consent was often obtained under coercion. Women told they would lose their housing benefits, their children, their right to leave an institution if they refused. Consent obtained under those conditions is not consent. It has a different name.
The program officially ended in 1975.
Not in 1945, when the world condemned eugenics at Nuremberg. Not in 1948, when the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted. Not in the 1950s or 1960s, as country after country abandoned similar programs. The year before Sweden hosted the Eurovision Song Contest, the year ABBA released Fernando, the year the world looked at Sweden and saw a model of progressive, enlightened society, the program had been running the entire time. For decades after 1975, Sweden did not speak about what had happened. The victims did not speak about it either. Many did not know the full truth of what had been done to them. Some had been told their sterilizations were medically necessary. Some had been told nothing at all. It was not until 1997 that a Swedish journalist named Maciej Zaremba published a series of articles in the newspaper Dagens Nyheter that the full scale of the program became public knowledge. The articles caused a national crisis. The government commissioned an inquiry. The inquiry confirmed everything. 63,000 people. 40 years. A legal, funded, celebrated state program. The government apologized. It established a compensation fund. Survivors could apply for 175,000 Swedish kroner, approximately $20,000, for what had been done to them. Many survivors were too old to apply. Many had already died. Many simply could not bring themselves to fill out the forms, to reduce what had been taken from them to a number on a government document. Maja Larsson applied. She received her payment. She was in her 70s. She said the money meant nothing. What she wanted was for people to know. He picks up his coffee cup, puts it down without drinking. The question that stays with you is not how this happened. History is full of how. The question is why Sweden? Why the country that gave the world the Nobel Peace Prize? Why the country that took in refugees when others closed their borders? Why the country that built the most generous welfare state in human history simultaneously decided that some of its citizens were not worth the future? The answer is uncomfortable. Because Sweden did not do this in spite of its progressive values. It did this because of them. The eugenics program was not seen as cruelty. It was seen as efficiency, as care, as the rational management of a society toward a better future. The welfare state and the sterilization program were built by the same government at the same time with the same logic, that the state knew best what its citizens needed. For 63,000 people, the state decided they needed to disappear from the future. And for 40 years, quietly, legally, with full institutional support, it made sure they did. There is one detail from the records that stays with you. The forms used to authorize sterilizations had a field for the subject's consent. In thousands of cases, that field was left blank. Not crossed out, not marked as refused, just blank. As if the question had never occurred to anyone to ask.